A lot of people will want to use the tools we've been discussing to increase their confidence and self esteem. This is one reason we're often told to visualize ourselves obtaining our goals. When you visualize yourself obtaining a goal, you produce neurotransmitters and hormones as though you had achieved that goal. As far as your brain concerned, it's already happened. This makes you much more likely to perform well when you actually attempt that thing. Likewise, though, when we unintentionally visualize ourselves failing or stuttering up on stage, this actually causes us to produce more fight or flight hormone, which in turn makes us nervous and makes us much more likely to actually do those things that we're afraid of doing. So don't just restructure your thoughts. Try to picture things going well, and with the backing of your cognitive restructuring, you should know that this is actually what's more likely to happen. In general, removing anxiety and increasing our confidence is a very important tool. And the more you can recognize the power of simply believing in your own ability, the more things will start to go your way. So, another tool you can use is to completely remove social anxiety using hypothesis testing. Now, most of us have some social anxiety, even if we're generally confident, and by removing this, we can become much more successful. Let's start by asking why confidence matters in the first place. And the simple answer is that when you're confident, others think they should also be confident in you. This sends the evolutionary signal that you must be higher in the pecking order than them. It makes the opposite sex think that you must be a good catch, and it makes the same sex think that you must be an important and influential figure. But when we stutter and stammer, it suggests that we aren't confident in either the content of what we're saying or our own importance. Either way, this makes people less likely to believe us, and it makes them think that if we're shy of them, they must be superior to us. The hierarchy has now established us in a much weaker position. It doesn't mean they'll be cruel, it simply means that we're not in a position of power and influence. Using hypothesis testing, though, it's possible to go one step further and to completely transform the way that people think of you and the way that you interact with others. To do this, you're simply going to remove the anxiety you previously had when speaking to people by testing the outcome of it going wrong. So, find a shop that you don't often shop in and then go up to a salesperson and ask for something. When you do it using a funny voice and say something purposefully awkward, or stand in silence for a moment. It'll be awkward and painful and it will trigger your fight or flight response. But breathe and try not to get too anxious. What you'll learn is that nothing bad comes of this experiment and the transaction is completed as normal. That was the worst case scenario and nothing bad happened. Do this a bit more, and over time, the reassociation will also kick in, and you'll learn that there's really nothing to be afraid of. Eventually, things like interviews, dates, and other social scenarios will be far less scary and will trigger much less of a stress response. The result? You'll seem so confident and at ease that your charisma and influence will increase drastically. But even without this step, simply practicing mindfulness and learning to distance yourself from thoughts will help you to become calmer and more confident. And it will also help you to detach from negative emotions and thereby to increase your self value. There are even types of meditation that involve meditating on the things that you love about yourself. However, you achieve it, increasing your self worth and confidence can eventually start to make all kinds of things happen in your life. This is called the law of attraction, and it simply means that when you believe yourself to be one way, you become that way. So, when you think of yourself as a highly successful high flyer who will no doubt be rich one day, that's how others will perceive you, and that's how you act. You'll present yourself as someone more confident, you'll take on jobs with more responsibility, and you'll even dress the part. And when others think of you that way, you'll start taking more opportunities for promotions, etc. And then you'll start to actually climb the ladder.